Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the sportstuff.com. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podaman, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio. You get the point. Audible. You could go on forever. Stitcher Double Twist. Thank you always and forever for downloading and listening to this show. Great pleasure to be back on board once again today. We survived the slippery, scary snow. Now we got to survive the cold, because it's going to be cold for at least a week and a half here in the Twin Cities. Though those of you in Australia are probably like, what do we care about your wanker's cold? It's too hot here. And then it's the opposite in, a few months or so. So, yeah, welcome to planet Earth. I'm sure you really wanted me to talk about that. Minnesota Timberwolves played 4 games this last week, and they went 1-3. It's becoming a theme. We're like a 25% team. A 250 team. In the sports world, the winning percentage. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be a 25% winning team. It's great. That's basically what we are. Is there any rhyme or reason to the Timberwolves offense lately? No. But there's one positive thing. I might jump into that just about now, like right away, other than the scores, I guess. Obviously, the Philadelphia game was a yucky game. The 29th of January, and then the 31st against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Anthony Edwards enters the starting lineup. Yes, sir, for the first time. Yes, sir. And it was a balance when you look at the win probability. It was just pretty much Philadelphia the whole way. It was Philly, like, over 50%. There was a little dip below 50%, like late in the second quarter. Oh, my God, so scary. And then Philly just kind of took off from there. It's just another one of those. It's 118-94. Would Carl have helped? Probably not, because Carl versus Joel Embiid is always bad. And Joel Embiid had his 37 points and crushed us real good. Real nice stuff. Malik Beasley, as usual, 20+, which is great. 22 in this one. Really like the vibes we're getting from McDaniels, Vanderbilt, and Noel. Those are the 3 guys coming off the bench that are really, really helping. Let's call them the 3 Js, because obviously there's Jake Layman, so we'll stick with the 3 Js, even though Jake Layman actually had a decent game statistically, but I'll call the 3 Js, the energetic Js, the soul Js, whatever you want to call them. The soul Js, the energy Jays, the whatever. Vanderbilt, McDaniels, Noel. Noel provides that instant offense. That's literally what he is. He's the little microwave, like Vinnie Johnson back in the old days. Not quite as muscular and tough as Vinnie Johnson, but nobody's muscular and tough like those guys back then, except LeBron James, of course. What am I talking about? In this day and age, they do focus generally on muscles more than back in the day, but I can't say McDaniels is a big guy. I can't say Vandy is, and I can't say Noel is. So there I go, twisting and turning all over the place. D'Angelo Russell, yeah. What more can you say? What more can you say about D'Angelo Russell? He is a $30 million garbage dump. Is that okay to say that? Can I please call him what he is? A $30 million garbage dump. That's what he is right now. If things change with Karl Anthony Towns in the lineup, Anthony Edwards continuing to develop, so be it. But I don't know. Every time we get a long-term point guard, it's always disappointing, isn't it? Every time. I mean, you had Marbury, all the way back to Stephon Marbury in 1999, demanding the trade. Winds up with I almost called them the Brooklyn Nets, the New Jersey Nets at the time. Not quite the team he wanted, but it's the metro area, I guess. You could kind of call it the tri-state region or whatever the hell they call that place. As if I give a crap at this point. They don't care about us, do they? Minnesota, that's flyover country. You lose Marbury, you get Terrell Brandon back. Disappointing, pretty much. He had a really good initial season because, funny, it was a contract year. Shocking. Gets his money, was just kind of halfway there, halfway not there forever. You go on to Chauncey Billups, who I thought was pretty good for a minute there, and then we lose him via free agency. Funny how that works. Right when he starts really looking like a starting point guard, he leaves. You get Troy Hudson, who's good for a couple minutes again, and he was disappointing. You could go on forever. Sam Cassell was spectacular, but then his back goes out in the playoffs. I mean, I could go on all day with this. His back goes out in the playoffs, and he was lousy the next year. He didn't want to be here anymore because he didn't get his gigantic contract. It just figures. Who do you go from there? Oh, yeah. Let's see. Marko Jaric. Marko Jaric, you might as well call him, because that's about how good he was. I mean, he couldn't even put his jersey on right. Just pathetic. He was an overpaid player. Pathetic. Six-year contract, by the way. That was elite. Where do you go from there? Eventually, it winds up with Ricky Rubio. You had a couple minutes with Johnny Flynn, who was just a pile of crap. You had, what was that guy's name? Oh, my gosh. Now I'm forgetting the guy's name, the guy we got from Milwaukee who couldn't make a free throw. Sure as heck couldn't shoot a three. I'm blanking on his name now. It's a while ago. Back 2008, 2009. I should know all these names because that's the kind of person I am, but I'm kind of blanking on him at the moment. He'll probably come back in a minute. Couldn't shoot a free throw for his life. He was like basically the point guard with Johnny Flynn for a year. You eventually get Rubio. He's good, and then he gets hurt right away. Just the typical, another injury for somebody you're really hoping for. Because in Minnesota, it's illegal to have nice things. And, did he ever really, truly live up to the hype? Of course he didn't. Of course he didn't. He wasn't a transcending player like people thought he was going to be. He just wasn't. Where do you go from there? To eventually D'Angelo Russell. Obviously, Chris Dunn didn't work out. What was the other guy's name just recently? Why am I blanking on him? It's hilarious when you think about that. Of course, Jeff Teague was the most recent guy. I had Spud Webb for a minute years ago. Derrick Rose, but he wasn't even a point guard. He was pretty much what do they call that? Kind of like a shooting guard. Zach LaVine was never a point guard. You had Rod Strickland for a minute there. Mo Williams for a few minutes. It just goes on and on. Did Bobby Jackson live up to anything? No. It's all just sad. Yep, they don't even show the guy I was talking about. Winston Garland. Ramon Sessions. That's what I was talking about. The guy that couldn't shoot. Yeah, he was aggressive at times that he couldn't shoot, and then he was immediately better with Cleveland. Surprise, folks, surprise! And then we get to D'Angelo Russell all these years later. Giving up on Teague, which was the right thing to do. Of course, the right thing to do. Giving up on Teague, because look at him now. He's a third stringer basically out there who can score a little bit. You get D'Angelo Russell. $30 million contract given to him with the Golden State Warriors. He said, you bleeping better sign it. He curses at his agent when he said, is it okay? And he said, you effing better sign it. Because who knows if he's going to get that kind of offer again. And, well, yeah, I don't think anybody'd give it to him right now if he's going to play like this. That's the problem with the NBA sometimes, is people get complacent, they get their big bucks, and then they suck. I don't know, or they're not as good, maybe. Occasionally, other guys have the professional competitive nature, and they actually get better with the contract signing. Not this guy. Is it the wrong coach? Most likely. The wrong coach is in charge, yes, most likely, because he's not holding him accountable. Ryan Saunders, he can say that he's going to hold guys accountable, but I'm not really seeing it. I'm not seeing Russell really get benched other than, well, what's the point of leaving him in there? We're getting blown out, or this or that. You're not really seeing a whole lot of chemistry between Russell and Ryan Saunders either. And this game was just what it was. I mean, we got demolished, we got crushed. I'm not trying to pile on, because what's the point of piling on? You're beating a dead horse. 114-94. No worry, there's some positive conversation, of course, because Anthony Edwards entered the starting lineup. And, of course, things will get so much better, as at least for one game. And probably a couple. We almost beat Cleveland twice, which is nice. So, yes, again, like I was saying, Wolves did play Cleveland. The Wolves did beat Cleveland on the final day of January, 109-104. D'Angelo Russell's first game as a second game as a starter, first win as a starter. 23 points, a block, a steal, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, and just kind of that right vibe. He just has the vibe. Like, you can't vibe with people that don't call him Ant. Well, they must have called him Ant because he vibed very well in this game. Russell's usual mediocre numbers. Yeah, he got 19 points. That's okay. But it's just empty stats to me. Malik Beasley, actually, you see something behind his stats. You see big plays. You see floaters. You see three-point shots. Jalen Noel providing that nice offense. 13 points off the bench. He's a smart plug. I mean, there's no question about that. Rubio is the guy that really actually runs the offense, even though his game is, he's a shell of what he was for whatever reason. Like, he aged 5 years in the offseason. I've said it like 14,000 times already this season. But, yeah, he looks like a backup point guard now, unfortunately. But at least he's a good backup. Vandy, the Junkyard Dog 2.0, Junkyard Dog 2.0, Junkyard Dog Jr., did nice. Obviously, solid performance. He's usually getting that 7 to 8 points, 7 to 8 rebounds. He'll get a steal, a block. He plays solid defense. Jaden McDaniels actually has a very athletic game. Obviously, he can catch and shoot from three, which is nice, but there's a lot more to him. John Krasinski, with Jim Stewhan there on the Talk North Network with our Timberwolves show. Krasinski was talking about how Jaden McDaniels was a top recruit in the country just like a year ago, going into college, and was disappointing with Washington. And the Wolves, had him slip to them at 28th, which is great. Jaden McDaniels, absolutely, there's something there. Absolutely. Is he just going to be a super good rotation player, or does he have starter in his future? I think he has starter in his future because, there's going to be a time. You look at Josh Okogie there, starting at forward at 6'3". Did you hear me? You hear this? 6'3", starting at small forward. You hear that? Yeah. He's a damn good rebounder for his size. He hustles like nobody's business. He's too small. He's too small to guard, we saw what happened versus DeMar DeRozan, right? He just basically got destroyed by him. As good of a defender as he is, DeMar DeRozan posterized him more than once. One of the bigger, more insane dunks there's been, basically, over the course of time. And it was really something. But Jaden McDaniels, there's definitely something there. That's definitely the hope. Obviously, the defensive ability, athleticism. 3 blocks in the game, by the way. And I mean, there's so much positivity with Jaden McDaniels. And then, of course, Anthony Edwards, again, the moves he was making, getting around guys, the athleticism, just looks like he wants it out there. And the interview, I wish I could have it. I should have done something about it while I was still around. Saved it somehow. The little brief interview he had with Marnie Gellner after the game, when he said, when she talked about how well he played and everything, in the game, and how strong he was when it mattered most, he basically said, it's not really about me, it's about the team winning. It's about the team winning. I mean, it's not really about my accolades. That's not what I'm here for. And just the way he said it was really nice. You're seeing some leadership already as a 19-year-old. And he has the energy. He has something to him that Andrew Wiggins never was going to have. Even though Wiggins does have some ability, but more as a role player for the Golden State Warriors. And I guess he's a good fit there. And hopefully Anthony Edwards ends up being a spectacular fit for Minnesota. Don't be surprised if he ends up being the franchise player of this team later on. I'd love to see how him and Towns' chemistry develops. Obviously, it could be a three-headed monster if D'Angelo can get his head out of his you-know-what and actually start playing to the ability that we know he can. Probably need a coaching change to do that. Unfortunately, I'm not expecting a coaching change until after the season. That's pretty much the talk, that they're probably going to wait till the end of the season to make any type of major decision. It's not like we have a spectacular replacement. Obviously, Vanderpool can do it, but if Vanderpool is a great defensive coach and you're seeing San Antonio Spurs players literally waltz right past us for it was 20 out of 22 possessions basically down the court in the fourth quarter. Probably more 21 of 24 possessions basically in the fourth quarter. In the later half of the fourth quarter, just waltzed right past the Timberwolves players. It was an absolute joke. It was hideous. Absolutely hideous basketball. But we'll stick with the Cleveland game for the moment. Again, very positive with Anthony Edwards. I mean, I love the vibes I'm getting from him. There is something there, despite the fact, what are the Timberwolves right now? 5-15 right now? 5-16, pardon me. 5-16. Oh, boy, you can't forget that. Pathetic record. You don't want to pile on, but it is what it is. It's just reading off what the record is. It's 5-16. What more can you say about it? It's bad. It's bad. But there is something here in Minnesota, luckily. There is a future. It's just how many times do we have to keep saying that before something actually good happens? But at least Anthony Edwards is starting now. And here's a case for him to absolutely never, ever, 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 ever come off the bench again. Ever come off the bench again. And he shouldn't. As a sub, Anthony Edwards averaged, 25 minutes, a little over 25 minutes. His field goal percentage was 35%. His three-point percentage, 30%. He averaged 13 points a game, which is respectable in that amount of time. But he took 13 and a half shots per game as a sub. As a starter, so far in only 4 games, small sample size, but hear me out on this. So 31 minutes a game, basically a little under that, 13 and a half field goal attempts. Did you hear that? 13 and a half field goal attempts. Sub, 13 and a half field goal attempts. So, in a significant amount of minutes to change. Not a ton, but enough. Field goal percentage, 46.3. 3-point percentage, 45.5. Free throw percentage was even a tiny bit better, about 2% better at the free throw line, 83%. Thank you very much. Keep that coming. So sick of guys that suck at free throws. Anthony Edwards doesn't. Rebounding 4.5 compared to 2.8. That's pretty good. Assists doubled, basically almost 3 a game now. And 16.3% point, or 16.3 points a game. We don't want to hear about 16% anything. That'd be horrible. That'd be horrible. But did you notice that? The same field goal attempts, higher field goal percentage everywhere across the board for him. Almost 50% from 3-point range. What do you think of that? When you talk about the same amount of field goal attempts, what does that tell you just by analyzing that? All you have to do is look at that and you can figure something out. Better field goal attempts. He's not just forcing shots. And what happens when he's not forcing shots? Higher percentage shots. More going. There's just more to his game this way. Anthony Edwards should start for forever now. He should start for the rest of time. Hopefully he stays healthy and continues to be this shining light right now with the Timberwolves. I can't wait to see him with Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. Hopefully he gets his head out of his you-know-what. And you might have a pretty good three-headed monster with the Wolves. That's another reason why they're not in a huge rush to fire, I must call him Ryan Saunders. Because, that's the biggest excuse in the world. Karl's not playing. The problem is there's no rhyme or reason to the offense whatsoever. There was a little bit in this Cleveland game, but it was mostly just guys like Anthony Edwards, Malik Beasley kind of just going out there and getting the job done. Just taking the initiative and playing the game. Sometimes it's that simple. It's just the way it needs to be sometimes. So again, nice solid performance in Cleveland. Let's move to the next one. Unfortunately, not as victorious for the Wolves. It's a similar kind of game. Drummond 2020, obviously, and the Wolves win. But Drummond's basically a 2020 guy all the time. Now we head to the month of Feb. At least we ended the month of January with a win. You got to end something with a win. You lose 100-98. I thought the Wolves might be able to pull this one out again. Good, solid fourth quarter, but could not finish the job. We actually had a decent fourth quarter. Anthony Edwards only 13 points. Just the magic wasn't there as much in this one. Jared Allen got almost a 2020 game. That's pretty crazy. No Andre Drummond in the game, unfortunately. Wolves still couldn't take advantage. Jared Allen basically replaced him with a 2020 type performance, 18 rebounds, but close enough. Colin Sexton was hitting just about everything, and Darius Garland had an awesome game. Wish he was our point guard. I wish he was our point guard. Let me tell you, 19 points, 11 assists, and he looked good doing it. D'Angelo Russell just kind of, his assist numbers aren't there. He seems like he's always trying to force shots. They're always low percentage. I mean, how could you look at him as any type of a captain of the team, like an alternate captain? Obviously, he's not the main captain, but a captain, an alternate captain. How could anybody look to him that way when he's just kind of jacking up shots? He's like one of those health club guys who just wants to shoot the ball, and, whenever, wherever, whenever he feels like it, wherever he feels like it, whatever position he's, his body is in, he'll just jack it up, off-balance shots. Where's the foul? Yeah, you're like falling backwards, pretending to get hit. Where's the foul, man? And that happened in San Antonio way too many times, enough to make me want to curse and break the TV screen. Come on, I really want to see more. Jaden McDaniels, 11 points off the bench. Really I like Jaden McDaniels. I like him. He's got a nice catch and shoot, corner three, but he's also got a strong defensive game. If he can put on some muscle, come on now, whey protein shakes, whatever it is, even if it's a milkshake, whatever the heck it is, get some muscle and some mass on that body. Please, Jaden, get stronger, because if he does, there you go. He's going to be a very nice forward, basically. He could be a power forward. He could be a small forward. He's 6'9", though. That's the good part. He puts on some muscle. He could be a nice, strong power forward. He's got that shot blocking ability. Maybe he'll just be a great small forward. But I kind of see Anthony Edwards as a small forward, kind of. He does have the NBA body, which most guys don't these days. Oh, man, it's tough to say. I mean, he's 6'5", he's 6'3", or he's 6'5". Josh Okogie's 6'3". I mean, Anthony Edwards is actually technically playing power forward right now, which, that's a joke. I mean, there's no way. He can't rebound. He can't rebound at that level. So Anthony Edwards, small forward, Josh Okogie off the bench, Jaden McDaniels, power forward, bada bing, bada boom. Though I'm sure Jaden McDaniels isn't ready to be a full-time starter. Unfortunately, the Wolves unable to get the win. A crappy second quarter. Put the Wolves behind most of the game. We were kind of trying as we might to get back in it, but Cleveland most of the way was considered the team that was probably going to win the game. Wolves had a nice stretch in the fourth quarter that ended up falling quite short. In the end, it made the score a little bit prettier, unfortunately. So that's just how that goes. San Antonio was yet another collapse, another epic collapse. And I put the chart out, the win percentage possibility, the win probability chart during the course of the game. How it literally crashes. It looks like 9/11 happened. I remember. If you go back that far, or let's just say COVID-19 in March when the stock market just went straight down. Just completely crashed. I mean, the Wolves were in the win probability for most of the game. The very beginning, no, because the Spurs were obviously favored, and the Wolves kept gradually working it up like a nice, good stock, and then kablamo, like when the stock market crashes. That's what happened midway through the fourth quarter when everything just went the Spurs' way. Wolves couldn't make a stop. I mean, Sims put a ball basically off the top of the backboard and they managed to find the hoop. I couldn't believe that. Talk about your lucky rolls. God bless Australia, Paddy Mills, of course. God bless all of you Australians, but that was a lucky-ass shot. I'm sorry, that was luck. Other than that, though, nobody was able to stop DeMar DeRozan again. And that dunk he had on Okogie was just, it was a poster. It was a posterizing. It was scary. It was terrible for us. And he got a foul on it as well. D'Angelo Russell's constantly looking for a foul. Somehow he got 3 blocks in the game. That's an anomaly of all time. Oh, that's weird. But, okay, good for him. Somehow Layman got 11 points in the game, too. That's even weirder, or almost as weird. Malik Beasley was just awesome. Floaters and nice shots. 29 points for Malik Beasley. D'Angelo Russell, again, I'm so frustrated with that guy. I mean, he's just constantly looking for a foul, dribbling the air out of the ball. Rubio does a lot of the same with the dribbling, but at least he gets assists rather than low percentage shots, even though Rubio misses pretty easy ones as well. He had a pretty easy 45-degree angle shot off the glass that just, wasn't in the right place. Just an obvious miss. In those big moments when the Wolves were up by 2 or down by 2, in the closing minutes when the stock market had crashed already in the game. But the Wolves were still very much in the game all the way to the last second. D'Angelo Russell hoists up a contested shot, of course, with the buzzer, and it misses. Shock of the century. Looked like Jimmy Butler on the Timberwolves in that one because he took so many of those potential game-tying shots or game-winning shots off balance and missed. Obviously better with Miami last season. Miami this year, I don't know, man. They look pretty bad. But a lot of guys have been out with this and that. Oh, boy. Spurs game, though, my goodness. I mean, another epic collapse. Very depressing. Very sad. It is what it is, though. It is what it is. So at the end of the day, should we pass out the awards for this week? The Lone Wolf Award. I want to share it. Anthony Edwards, just the things he said and the positive vibes we're getting out of him as a starter. He looks so much better as a starter. Maybe we could ask for a little bit more action, I guess, the last couple of games. Only 13 and 14 points, respectively. I actually had pretty poor field goal percentage against the Spurs. 6 of 14. Not the best game. Malik Beasley, though, my goodness, man. 2/3 of his shots from the floor. Half of his threes. I mean, him and D'Angelo are like polar opposites. 20 field goal attempts, 20 points. Pathetic. 18 field goal attempts and 29 points. There you go, Malik. There you go. The first one, of course, was D'Angelo. Anthony Edwards, 14 attempts, 14 points. See? Do you see the lack of efficiency there? Seems to be very common. Very, very common. Get to the free throw line, damn it. Come on, Anthony, get to the free throw line. D'Angelo Russell thinks he should be attempting about 11 free throws a game with all the fouls he's trying to draw, and he doesn't get 1 of 7 from downtown, too. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it's okay. You want to make your 3. You don't want to give up on it, but it seems like they're forced, and they suck. They suck. I should have got the French dip last night. Crap. Instead of eating junk, at home. French dip, man. French dip. Damn, now I'm mad at myself. That was a French dip game. 13 threes. Good job, Joe. The Lone Wolf again. Beasley and Anthony Edwards. The Johnny Flynn Memorial. Should it go to D'Angelo Russell again? She's like, it's a guy that's averaging over 20 points a game. On paper, he looks like a great player, or at least a really good player. But the eye test, he's failing the eye test. People always say, oh, he passed the eye test, or he doesn't pass the eye test. No, he's outright failing the eye test. The numbers look nice sometimes. But then you look at the field goal percentage, it's not nice. It sucks. In fact, it absolutely sucks in a lot of these games. 1 of 7. But most importantly, 0 defense, like 0. He just watches guys. Okay, you got 3 blocks. To me, I still don't even know where that came from. I don't even remember them happening. I'm dead bleeping serious. I don't remember them happening. I don't. There must have been just a tip ball or something that went right back to the Spurs player, and then they got a layup. Probably what happened, actually. One of those worthless blocks where it goes right back into the same player's hands for a wide-open layup. That's just terrific. I don't know. Call me ignorant, call me stupid, but the eye test is just, you get the point. He's not been good. You know, he's looking for a foul on every Mickey frickin' play. And he's putting up these lopsided, idiotic shots that are getting us nowhere. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. You're not Dominique. You're not Michael. I think you know which players those guys are. You're not Magic. You're not Larry. You're not... Just play, damn it. Just play the game. Once in a while, he drives to the basket. Oh, it went in. All right. Once in a while, and it feels good. Maybe he'll hit a nice, crisp, gorgeous three. High percentage instead of off balance. Looking for the foul. And you can't believe they didn't call it. Are you kidding me? I can believe it. I can believe it because you're pretty much falling backwards on those shots. It's predictable. Of course, frickin' DeMar DeRozan got away with that late in the game, though, on a Kogi. Or was that... Excuse me, not a Kogi. This was on Malik Beasley after he was absolutely hacked going to the basket. That's another reason we didn't win the game. Of course, we didn't deserve to win, but I think... It was an absolute travesty what happened to Malik Beasley. He got absolutely hacked, absolutely crushed going to the hoop. Complete bull. No call, of course. Big shocker there. No call whatsoever. I can't remember who the player was. Bigger guy. I'm just blanking. But absolutely hacked. And then I don't think he even touched DeMar DeRozan as he was falling backwards. And then Rosen got the free throws and surprising made him. But yeah, whatever. Wolves lost. You know who the Johnny Flynn Memorial is. It's D'Angelo Russell. With that, we'll take a break. And how many games do we have coming up? How many? Who cares, right? No, we have enough games coming up. No, it's 4 games again. It's OKC twice, both in OKC. Dallas Mavericks on the road on Monday. OKC Friday and Saturday, of course. That's kind of cool. And then Wednesday, I get the Los Angeles Clippers coming to Target Center. And then next Friday, we'll preview the Charlotte Hornets coming to Target Center. Talk about those after this. Thank God Anthony Edwards is starting. At least there's something good to talk about. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 2. Time to look at the previews here. And just looking at this schedule right here, I can already tell you it's going to be 1-3, and I can tell you already how it's going to go. I mean, I just got it right here. It's right here, right up here in my thick cranium. Okay, I might be wrong about the game. Maybe if that's a 50-50 flip a coin, you can kind of guess what I'm talking about. The Wolves are going to win one of the OKC games and lose to Dallas and the Clippers. I mean, it's so predictable. We're going to go 1-3 again. We're going to go 1-3. Does that sound good? Sound good? It doesn't, does it? But we're going to go 1-3. If we do better, that'd be great. Will Karl Anthony Towns finally play in a game? Well, he's not going to play on Friday. He's not going to play on Friday. We're actually worse than 25% right now. Our winning percentage is .238. So, hey, that's an upgrade. Let's get to 25. The next worst team is the Dallas Mavericks, who's got 4 more wins than us, and they're almost at 400 on the year. Right above them is Nolans. And Detroit is tied with the Wolves. All right, we are right there with Dwayne Casey and the Detroit Pistons, because they got pissed on because they're that bad right now. We're fighting for that number 1 pick in the draft. Let's get in the top 3. Maybe we're doing it on purpose. Maybe it's all genius. Maybe QAnon is telling us what's going on. You know, QAnon told me that the Timberwolves are doing this on purpose. We're playing 3D chess, and the Wolves are the Wolves are doing this on purpose to make absolute sure we get a top 3 pick in the draft. Because when that happens, the Timberwolves will suddenly have another great player to join Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. And then Q tells us that the Timberwolves will trade D'Angelo Russell away for John Wall. Okay, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, that'd be an upgrade. No, that would not be an upgrade. It'd be the same thing. But no, I'm not bashing Q. I'm not a huge believer in Q necessarily. Though, yeah. I'm not left of center, that's for sure. Though some of you might hope I was, but I'm not. Q, I don't know what they are. They're something. There's something out there. They're something. I don't know whose side they're on, actually. But it's funny how you come up with all these interesting thoughts. So it's everything is 3D chess, this and that. It is kind of funny. I'm sure maybe Vince might get a kick out of that one. Philadelphia and Milwaukee. Q says one of them is going to go to the East, or is going to win the East and go to the finals this year. And I think that'd be good. If Q is right about that, that's good. It's about time. Why am I blanking on who even came out of the East last year? Oh, Miami, yeah. And because they were such a non-factor in the finals. They won the first game, if I remember correctly. Or was it the second game? And then just... Boo! Let's talk about the frickin' OKC Thunder. It's making me hungry for a KFC for some reason. Because it says OKC, I guess. Happy birthday to my mom, February the 5th. Yeah, boy, oh boy. Already, how many years? Boy, getting up there. Yeah, unfortunately. Let's not say her age. That wouldn't be very nice. 9 and 11. It was an inside job in Oklahoma City. That might be more believable than some of the stuff Q says, actually. But we'll digress from that. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma Schmucky. Minnesota 5 and 16, and we're playing them twice. Carl still says COVID-19. How about just LD or Dort, Mr. Dort, Mr. Luggy Dort has left knee soreness, so he'll be out for 3 months. George Hill has a sprained right thumb. He'll be out for 5 years. Okay, I'm just kidding. Boy, come on, Carl, come back. So that was on the 15th. That's already been over 2 weeks, hasn't it? But okay, it's been over 2 weeks. This is the season series right here. Let's sweep. No, we're going to split it, I think. Oklahoma City Thunder won most recently on Feb 3rd. Wow, they absolutely obliterated Houston after getting obliterated by Houston 2 days before. They lost by 30 points to the Houston Rockets just 2 days earlier, and then they beat them 104-87. Wrap your head around that. I don't know. It's kind of like the 2016 finals where basically the first 4 games were all blowouts. They were all blowouts. Golden State blew out Cleveland twice. Cleveland blew out Golden State in Game 3. And I was like, good, now we're seeing something. And then Golden State crushed the Cavaliers again in Game 4. And then good things started happening after that. And the Warriors didn't win the championship. Wolves have won in the last 4. Of course, they beat Cleveland in the middle there on the 31st. OKC did win on the 25th of Jan, 125-122 over the Trailblazers, sorry. They beat Phoenix 102-97, solid, and got obliterated by the best team in the world, the Brooklyn Nets. Best team in the world ever assembled for a couple months, and then before you know it, it'll crumble just like the Tower of Babel, basically. That's basically what they are right now, the Tower of Babel when it comes to the NBA. Yeah, it's not going to work out. But on paper, God, they're good. And they are fun to watch, but it ain't going to last. I think we all know it's not going to last. Wolves versus OKC. These are both on the road. I think we win tonight and then lose 3 more in a row. That's what I'm guessing. I'm going to go with that. Maybe, you know what? Doggone it. I got a feeling. Wolves actually don't win tonight. Carl comes back tomorrow, and the Wolves win. What do you think of that? Wolves lose tonight, something on the likes of 122-111, something like that. Just another meh kind of game. And the Wolves come back and somehow pull it out tomorrow. Lower scoring, 108-100 over the OKC Thunder. Karl Anthony Towns is a 30-point game in his return for the Wolves. This is all just, hyperbole or whatever the heck the word is. This is all just me kind of hoping. I'm just trying to predicting Carl's going to come back magically tomorrow and the Wolves win the game. That's what I'm thinking. There'll be some energy. There'll be some excitement. Anthony Edwards is going to have a really good game in one of these and a decent game in the other. He'll have like 18 in one and 30 in the other. Anthony Edwards will have his first 30-point game versus OKC in this little quote-unquote weekend series. The Wolves will split the OKC Thunder. They will win Saturday. They will lose Friday. We move forward now to the, let's talk about the Thunder a tiny bit more, because I like to look at kind of some of their numbers a teeny tiny bit. OKC, points scored were pretty much in the same category there, 106, 107. Free throw rebounds almost the same. Field goal percentage, OKC is significantly better, 22nd compared to our 28th. They're actually worse at free throws than we are. Now we're even at 28th in the league in three-point percentage. But it's cool to talk about the guy, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, or SGA, basically, who's really emerged nicely. 22 points a game for Oklahoma City. What a nice story. 6.5 assists, 5 rebounds. He kind of does a little bit of everything. And Al Horford's been super solid for them, but he's missed a significant amount of time, kind of like always. Nothing new there. Lots of who the hell is this kind of guys on the roster. Mr. Dort, Mr. Diallo. I'm sure most of you love him, but I mean, yeah, obviously, not everybody has seen him. I've heard of those guys. Some of us have, some of us haven't. But at least there have been a couple of nice stories in OKC, and then they're okay. We'll see. I was hoping the Wolves might be competing with these guys for the postseason, but I guess not. Dallas freaking Mavericks on Monday. We'll get to them in a couple of seconds here. Obviously got Luka Doncic. He's the best thing since sliced bread, but at least some of you believe that, and that's okay. It's your opinion. He's good. He's obviously very good. I just don't see him as a multi-time MVP of the league necessarily. Maybe he'll get one. I think. Obviously his statistics are fantastic. That's a given. Dallas is scoring a significant amount more. They're 20th in the league. They're still in the lower tier though. They're really poor at rebounding. 28th in the league, 18th in the league in field goal percentage, which is significantly better than us. Free throw percentage, 16th, and for some reason they're the worst three-point shooting team in the league, 33.2. Worst in the league. This is the only time we'll play the Mavericks the entire season. The Mavericks have really dropped off after a pretty good, promising year last year with the Mavs. 9-14 on the season. They're out of the playoffs. They're actually the second worst team in the West right now for some reason. They are 1-4 in their last 5. Their only win was against the Hawks. That was against Trae Young there. Maybe they won that trade, maybe not, because Trae Young's pretty good. They lost to Utah, 120-101. Wow, in one of the most underrated cities in the country, Salt Lake. Wow, 19-point demolition there. But Utah is super good this year. Phoenix, that's another city I'd love to see. I want to see Phoenix. 111-105 loss on the 30th, and then back-to-back loss by 1 point to the Mavericks and Suns, the 2011 conference final, I believe, right? It was the 2006 conference final. I think they did play each other both times in the conference final, if I remember correctly. Maybe Dallas beat the Spurs? No. They beat the Spurs in the second round, I think, one of those years. I think they played Phoenix both times, if I remember correctly. Phoenix Suns, 109, 108. I think so, yeah, because Nash is still doing good there for a minute. No, Nash is on the Lakers already in 2011. I'm so mixed up. Nope. I can't remember what happened in 2011 conference. Oklahoma City, that's who it was. It was Phoenix in 2006. It just came back in my head as I was gazing at the Atlanta Hawks win. That's their only win. They got demolished by Golden State, 147-116. Looks like they're back winning championships again, maybe. I hope not. I don't know about this game. Obviously in Dallas, the Wolves never win in Dallas. Like never. Even when the Mavericks stunk. The only time we won in Dallas was way back in the Doug West days, way back in the old days when both of us were not real good. We'd go to like double overtime. It'd be an epic battle. The two worst teams in the league basically back then. It was fun basketball though, because it was the good old days, and I liked the old Mavericks jerseys. It was a more likable team back then. I didn't like the Mavericks when they were good, actually. I didn't like them at all. A lot of people loved them though. Oh, they were America's team, just like the Cowboys. Dallas is perfectly healthy, knock on wood for them, and of course, Carl, it says COVID-19 right now. We'll see if that changes. Luka Doncic is what he is. He's averaging 27 points a game. He's just, obviously kicking butt. Kristaps Porzingis, surprise of the year. He's missed 10 games already this season. But when he's healthy, he's as deadly as they come. He kicks our ass. I know that much. Tim Hardaway Jr. has really become a nice player. 17 points a game for Tim Hardaway Jr. 40% behind the arc. Luka Doncic is shooting almost 46%, 27 points a game. His stats are remarkable. Basically 9 rebounds and 9.5 assists. He's just about triple-double range there. Josh Richardson's been a nice addition, generally speaking, but he's missed games. It's a talented team. It's kind of too bad. It's kind of too bad they're not playing well. But I guess that's on you guys. I guess that's on you guys, Dallas. Stay healthy and step it up. But I think the Mavericks beat the Wolves, unfortunately. Something of the likes 122... 120. They're not going to score that much, are they? This is going to be more like 115 to to 113. I think the Mavericks squeak by the Wolves and frustrate the hell out of us. I think we were leading the whole game when we below it at the end. As predictable as that is, I think it's going to be something like that. Carl, I don't know if he's going to be healthy or not. The Wolves will be led in scoring by Malik Beasley, most likely in this game. 25 points, 28 points. But the Wolves end up falling short after leading almost the whole game. That's the vibe I'm getting. Now we move on to the Los Angeles Clippers. They're one of the better teams in the Western Conference. Imagine that, obviously, as we gradually wait for things to load. They're the best three-point shooting team in the league. Number one. Will we finally get L.A. versus L.A. in the conference final? Will we finally get it? Or will the Clippers choke again? I don't want to see Denver and Los Angeles again. Denver, Los Angeles, yeah, the Denver Nuggets beat the Lakers recently. We've had some good games against them. But it's time for the Clippers and the Lakers to tip off in the West Final. Well, you don't need to say face off or kick off, but tip off in the West Final. It's time. Let's go, Clippers. Get to the conference final. It's not because I like the Clippers that much. I mean, I like Kawhi Leonard. They're tied for first with the Utah Jazz, basically. Utah's got one less loss. That's all the difference is. Lakers, Clippers, and Jazz all have 17 wins, but the Jazz have only 5 losses. Denver's significantly below 5 games. So that's your big three in the Western Conference. Hopefully Utah can make a nice move. Spurs would be the 8th seed right now, and I think they're a playoff team. Golden State, hopefully they get hammered, and I would hate to see Golden State beat the Clippers in the first round. That would be the matchup right now. Lakers and Suns, that's a wash. Lakers will beat the Suns in 5 games, I think. As good as Chris Paul is, he's been sick good this whole year. He's been so good for Phoenix. He took that team, they were one of the worst teams in the league last year, to literally the playoffs. They're the best free throw shooting team in the league by a mile, and they are they're about 10% better than the Wolves in free throw percentage. Wow, that's crazy. Best three-point shooting team in the league, 42%. Jeez. Wow. 4th in field goal percentage. This team can shoot the ball. This team can shoot. They're not that good at rebounding. They're a little worse than the Wolves. 4 places worse. Basically about 0.3 rebounds a game worse. The Clippers are 5th in the league in scoring. 115 points a game for the Clippers. It's just LOSS. We're not going to beat the Clippers. Oh, the Clippers. Clippers. Kawhi Leonard's averaging a lot, and so are other people. Will Paul George stay healthy this time? Kawhi's actually missed only 1 game. Good for him. 26.2 a game. 4 rebounds. He's probably the best defender in the league. Two steals. The Clippers are 4-1 in their last 5. They beat the Miami Heat 109-105 in Miami. They beat the Magic, just demolished them by 26 points, 116-90. Just the next day, wow, that's pretty impressive actually, considering they went to the Florida 2-step. Usually you lose one of those 2, even if you're good. New York Knicks, they beat them pretty soundly in Madison Square Garden, 129-115. They lost to the Brooklyn Nets. 124-120, epic battle between those two, very epic battle. And in Cleveland, 121-99, demolition derby in favor of the Clippers. Very impressive. Patrick Beverley has a knee injury. They're not really detail oriented with that one. I don't know if he's out for the year. I can't remember if it's super significant. But usually knee injury is not a good thing, obviously, unless it's like a little sprain and he'll come back. But Daniel Otru's only been in 10 games so far. Hasn't had a whole lot of time on the court. 4 minutes a game. Just averaging a basket, basically, and a couple of rebounds. It's unfortunate. Hopefully they can get him more time. Reggie Jackson's for the Clippers now. 8 points a game, blah, blah, blah. Nicholas Batum, what's he doing there? And Lou Williams, of course, the 6th man of the year, that kind of thing. Getting a little older, numbers dropping off a little bit. It's a shame about Patrick Beverley, though. That can't be a good thing. But so far the Clippers have been okay. They're probably going to need help at point guard during the course of the season without Patrick Beverley. Unfortunately, Serge Ibaka won the championship with Toronto, and of course, valuable player with OKC is doing a good job with the Clips so far this year, 12 points a game. Paul George 24.5, and they're making everything. These guys, both of the Kawhi and Paul George, are shooting over 90% at the line. Marcus Morris Jr. 90% at the line. Wow, that's pretty good. 48% basically from downtown for Paul George. He literally makes half. Nicholas Batum, 46%. He basically makes about half. Luke Kennard, 44%. Jeez. Even Patrick Beverley was over 40% before the knee injury. So, man, these guys can shoot. Man. They beat the Wolves soundly by a final score of 128. Yeah, 128 to 110. The Wolves get crushed by the Clippers, I think. I'm sorry, but I think that's what's going to happen. Hopefully Anthony Edwards steps up, has a great game. Maybe Carl will be back, but I don't know. If Carl's back, maybe D'Angelo Russell goes out for 35 and has the best game of his tenure with the Wolves, and the Wolves beat the Clippers on the road. Would be a beautiful thing. Not sure how much it would help at this moment, but at least it would be a nice moral win for the Wolves, which is what we need more than anything. It's a moral win, if that makes sense. Make things feel a little bit better in that locker room and on the plane and all that. But I don't think the Wolves beat the Clippers. I don't think they even are competitive versus this club. 128-110. With that, we'll take a break and get to some fan interaction after this. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 3, fan interaction segment. I don't think it'll be as glitz and glamorous as last week, but hey, we'll see. We'll see where the conversation goes. At TWolvesEX, please join the Twitter account. The other one was suspended, and I don't know how to get it back going again. The @Wolves Explosion one, of course, the Twitter account will be in the show description. Just give it a follow. It would be greatly appreciated. Appreciate those that have been following it lately. Here we go. R.I.P. Gorgie. That's interesting. Yep, they followed me. CND Podcast. Thank you very much for the follow there. Hopefully they listen to this one as well, maybe. And I gave them a follow back. Levi and Tanae gave me a retweet on the last episode 291. A new D low, as in low, L-O-W. Vince Germano, of course, out of Australia. Levi and Tanae out of New Zealand. Thank you guys for the retweets there very, very much. Keenan McCardell is joining the Minnesota Vikings as wide receiver coach. Remember the very successful Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver. We'll talk about that on Purple Mafia after the Super Bowl. It'll be in the Super Bowl review show on Monday. Purple Mafia show. Hopefully I can be organized and ready to roll with that one. I should be. I was saying I really liked what Anthony Edwards said in the post-game interview. He was happy to see the team doing well, not because of his accolades. That was pretty cool. Not sure if I got any actual response. I don't think I did. It was mostly just likes. Yep, but that's okay. Hey, thank you for the likes. How dare you mistake Ed? Now all these perfect people on Twitter get to tweet me again and show just how great they are. That was Vince Germano talking about, okay. Go backwards there. I see. Keep moving. This is Joey. I was saying this is Joey. I don't think they follow. I don't think Wayne followed me back yet. He doesn't use the Twitter as much as other accounts. Hopefully he gives me a follow there. Vince seemed to like that one. Be sure to give me a follow. Give them a follow also at CRTSDE. That's the Courtside Podcast's Twitter account. This is, of course, I was trying to get them to follow that one. Not sure why. That hurt my feelings there. Jalen Noel, the GOAT. Jaden Noel, the GOAT. Jalen Noel. Well, where'd he go? Now it's gone. That's dumb. Let's go backwards. Let's try to go backwards anyway. Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is not retiring. And this was a demolition. There, I was saying an epic collapse. Yep, I was saying absolutely epic collapse, and it showed the chart, how it just completely crashes. And then Tanae Brown, New Zealand, says, can't say I didn't see this coming. And I know it. Believe me, I know. And then here we go. Tanae Brown, says the problem is the quality of starter, not the starter minutes. Wolves play starters fewer minutes due to most of them being role players. Beasley has been the only quality starter on the team, and hopefully Anthony Edwards can become the next quality starter with Karl-Anthony Towns moving forward. Jack Borman, this is who he's responding to. Lots of talk today saying the Wolves don't play their starters enough. Minnesota plays the starters an average of 28.7 minutes, 24th in the league in the NBA. The correlation coefficient between a team's starters minutes and its win percentage is 0.13, suggesting a very weak relationship between the two. The correlation coefficient between the team starters, minutes, and his win percentage. Interesting. Well, the Wolves and Detroit are right on top of each other, and we both got the worst record in the league. Jack Mormon continues, which might as well. He said, why is there a very weak relationship to start? Better teams usually have high scoring margins, often fueled by good starting fives. The Lakers, Clippers, Milwaukee, Denver, Philadelphia, and Utah. Higher margins could equal more garbage time, which could mean less starter minutes, thus weakening the relationship. Okay. However, better benches can obviously allow for starters to play less minutes. This is true for some of the above teams. Memphis has the fourth best bench in terms of plus-minus percentage per stat Muse. This enables the starters to be rested and to close out games. Denver is fifth. The Los Angeles Lakers are sixth. Milwaukee eighth, etc. Man, this just goes and goes. He tweets about 15 times. It's interesting stuff. Let's see what he says. There's a Wolves one here. He says, can you make an argument that some of the Wolves' better individual players, D'Lo, Beasley, Edwards, McDaniels, Reed, should play more? Absolutely. D'Lo should play more? Usually the reason why he's not playing is because he's sucking, or the Wolves are getting blown out, though. You know, this is so. That's where D'Lo's minutes might be reduced. Beasley, I think he gets enough minutes. Edwards should get about 30-ish for now. McDaniels should get more minutes. Yes, Reed probably. He says absolutely, but you also have to think about the lineups they'd play in, how they fit together, and what play style the team should run. For me, Edwards should be on the court as much as possible without overdoing it. McDaniels will. I mean, there's so few power forwards on the team. And obviously he's an undersized power forward because of his body, not because of his height and length. He needs to get more minutes, obviously. The more McDaniels plays, the better, I think. Mostly because lack of size on the team to begin with. And it's not like he's slow. He ain't slowing nobody down. Borman continues with the Wolves part. He says, that's currently the challenge of the Wolves, especially with all of the new pieces and young players shuffling in and out of the lineup due to more injuries, COVID, and performance. That's currently the challenge for the Wolves, yep. Even when Cat returns, this issue will persist unless the rotation is set in stone and the team. Okay, well, yeah, interesting stuff. Sorry, Tanae, if I went kind of off there. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Again, Tanae, I'll repeat what he said. The problem is the quality of starter, not the minutes. Wolves play starters fewer minutes, most of them due to most of them being role players. Beasley has been the only quality starter on the team. Yeah, for now, for the most part. And then Levi liked that. That concludes the Twitter conversation. Not a whole lot more on Facebook, but there's a few. I posted the same chart on Facebook, and there's 3 comments there. I think one of them is me, and so it's Tanae and me, basically. Tanae says, here we go. Yeah, this is an interesting thing to say right here. I don't know how Saunders still has a job. This is absolutely atrocious. 3 times this season, they've given up fourth quarter double-digit leads. We'll call it DDL, right? Double-digit leads, yeah. No Aldrich or Rudy Gay for the Spurs either. The narrative of Towns is out has been played out far too much. I agree. Every single team can win games without their star except this one. There's talent on the roster. It should be enough to close out a game like this. Yeah, I mean, we beat Cleveland pretty soundly, and not soundly, but we beat Cleveland, and the way we played it was very nice. But yeah, I mean, we just keep using the same thing. I was saying there has to be a time where Towns is out, can no longer be used. It's a joke. It's not working, period. Wayne Hunt, there he is. I thought I saw Wayne Hunt in there. It was he was mentioning Tanae. I thought it was Tanae talking about, and then I got a notification that Wayne had jumped into the conversation. There he is. Wayne Hunt, the alpha dog of the Courtside podcast, says, I keep saying it. He should have been fired after that last Memphis loss. At this stage, management just look like clowns and give the impression they don't care about their fan base. Well, I'm not feeling good about it either. No, I mean, obviously, I'm as an actual fan, just like Tanae, I'm not feeling good about it either. Wayne Hunt, Memphis fan, but obviously big-time basketball fan. Alpha Dog of the Courtside podcast. Wayne Hunt, Vince Germano, Stu Benson. Vince Germano and Stu Benson are Laker fans. Tanae Brown, of course, big-time king of Timberwolves explosion on this show. I just love him, obviously, and love the interaction from Wayne Hunt, Vince Germano, oftentimes Levi Brown as well. Awesome. Tanae and Levi out of New Zealand. Wayne from Sydney. Vince Germano is from Melbourne, and Stu Benson is also from Sydney. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate the interaction. Even if it's just one comment, I appreciate it so much. If it's more comments, that's awesome. And today, thank you so much for being a big part of this show always. God bless you. God bless you big time. With that said, I mean, yeah, I mean, at least there's some positives. You know, Jaden McDaniels looks like something, but of course, again, the quality of some of the starters just isn't there. Role players isn't that. Nas Reed's a role player. McDaniels is a role player right now, and he's not a starter yet. He might end up being a good starter someday. Anthony Edwards, I think, is a starter. D'Angelo Russell is obviously a starter, but he's a lousy one right now for what he's been doing out there. I'm confused with what he's doing out there. You know, Golden State had a terrible record last year. That's why they had a number 2 pick in the draft. But D'Angelo was averaging almost 30 points a game for that team. So, I don't know. It's like he comes here and just says, hell with it. Hell, let's just try to get fouls and play around, you know. I'm just have some fun. We're going to lose anyway. You know, that's kind of his attitude out there. I don't know, man. It is depressing without Carl, but last year it's not like they had Steph Curry either. Like, Steph Curry breaks his hand, never plays again. What's his name at the ACL? That would be Klay Thompson, and this year is the Achilles tendon. Jeez. Yeah, but now they're pushing 30, all those guys, which is good. Good riddance, you know. Keep getting older and go away, Golden State Stars. That's okay with me. Right now, I'm done with Golden State. I've been done with them since they started winning, actually. Not a big fan, if you hadn't noticed by now. And if you hadn't noticed, you're probably not listening or anything like that, or don't care what I have to say, I guess. With that said, hope all of you have a nice week. Hopefully the Wolves can get Karl Anthony Towns back in the lineup. I hope it's more fun to watch. Hope that Anthony Edwards keeps developing. Malik Beasley keeps doing what he's doing. I mean, he's the guy who's been super consistent. He's right now the MVP of the Wolves because of his consistency and health and all that. With that said, God bless all of you. We'll talk to you in a week.